Imagine you're a rich kid stranded on a tropical island. A young, beautiful, and powerful native chieftainess wants to have an entire army of babies with you. Would you accept? That is the story of Far Cry 3. A group of wealthy young adults comes to a remote island for a luxury vacation. Jason and his friends were celebrating their rich dads, and those dads' black credit cards. With an adrenaline rush of drinking and cliff jumping, they wanted all the thrills. Skydiving, deep-sea diving, you name it. They opened the hatch of their private plane, enjoying the feeling of that accelerating free fall. But in the very next second, that thrilling moment was frozen on a phone screen. It turns out they had landed directly in the pirates' territory, and the man standing before them with that distinct mohawk and a wicked scar across his eye is the pirate leader Vaas Montenegro. Jason tries to warn Vaas, but before he can finish, Vaas, in a fit of pure madness, shoots down an unfortunate bystander, an ordinary-looking man. Vaas's plan was simple: use Jason and his brother to extort a massive ransom from their father. If it hadn't been for Jason's brother, Grant, a trained veteran, who managed to dispatch the guard after Vaas left, they would have been just another pair of hostages whose lives were sold for their belongings. But just as they were about to slip away, a single bullet tore through Grant's throat. It was Vaas the maniac. Yet he didn't kill Jason. Instead, he began playing with him like a cat toying with a cornered mouse, firing countless warning shots and laughing as he watched Jason panic and flee through the jungle. A rickety bridge promised freedom, a ticket off the island, but a pirate helicopter suddenly appeared. The ravaged rope bridge swung violently, throwing Jason off and plunging him into the rapids of a deep canyon. He drifted for an unknown amount of time. Just before losing consciousness completely, he saw a hand covered in intricate tattoos, and it gripped him with incredible strength. When Jason woke up, he saw a man named Dennis tattooing a mark onto his arm. Dennis told him he recognized Jason's true potential, and he claimed that this very tattoo would be the key to helping Jason find out who he truly is. Turns out Dennis is an American expat who ended up joining the local indigenous tribe after being stranded. How good is life here? Just look at these native women, nice bodies, right? I can have any of them I want, he boasts. But Dennis sees them as nothing compared to the one woman who has completely captured his heart and soul. Dennis doesn't reveal the woman's name, but he promises to help Jason rescue his friends. Immediately, he assigns Jason the first task: climbing a radio tower, a classic rite of passage, to unlock the surrounding area. Jason starts hunting game, upgrading his gear, and collecting herbs to craft essential medicine. He soon discovers that the tattoo on his arm, the Path of the Warrior, has unlocked a skill tree for him. Every time he learns a new ability, a new section of the tattoo automatically appears. Just then, a call comes in over the radio. There are American prisoners in a nearby pirate camp. The two immediately rush to the location. Now following the warrior's path, Jason feels a surge of power for the first time. He remembers being terrified, nearly crying, when he watched his brother kill a pirate. But now he realizes his own takedowns are quicker, steadier, and far more brutal than Grant's ever were. Unfortunately, the camp is empty, no prisoners. The radio crackles to life, reporting the Americans have headed west. Jason quickly follows the trail west and arrives at the doctor's house. Don't let the doctor's spaced-out appearance fool you. He actually took in an American girl. Jason rushes upstairs and finds her. It's his brother's girlfriend, Liza. It turns out the doctor is constantly high on plant extracts, and he mistook Liza for his daughter. Liza plays along with the delusion and urges Jason to save the others. After they reunite at the doctor's place, Dennis instructs Jason to infiltrate the communications room of a grounded ship, to eavesdrop on the pirates' movements and find new clues. Vaas was screaming frantically over the radio. It turns out that after collecting the ransom, he planned to sell all the hostages into slavery. The signal indicated they were being held at a camp in the bay, but when Jason rushed in, he realized it was another setup, another one of Vaas's elaborate traps. Waking up later, Jason finally saw his friends, including his girlfriend, Liza. Vaas maniacally doused them all in gasoline, then pulled out a lighter and demanded, "Who gave you that tattoo? Was it my sister? Did she tell you a tattoo would make you like me?" It's revealed that Vaas is also a native islander who deeply loved his tribe, and especially his older sister. He even committed his first murder for her. But nothing he did seemed to be enough. They always forced him to choose. Is it us or is it your sister? This question was like a venomous worm born inside his very bones. It gnawed through his skull daily, searching for an answer in his brain matter. That's how Vaas devolved into this kind of schizophrenic, fractured person, a tribal outcast who became a pirate. He asked Jason, "Do you know how painful it is to have to leave the people who love you?" He jammed the lighter into Jason's pocket, ignited the gasoline trail, and ordered his men to take the friends away. Jason and Liza, the two star-crossed lovers, watched each other being dragged off. Fortunately, Jason managed to break free. He carried his beloved girlfriend out of the fiery death trap and settled her into a cave below the doctor's house. Their reunion was incredibly emotional. Liza even found a broken-down boat nearby, which they could fix to escape this hellish island of murder and chaos. Liza had always wanted to be an actress, and this kidnapping had forced her to miss an important audition. "Don't worry," Jason assured her. "When we get back, I'll have my dad use his money and connections to get you into any project you want." He told Liza to help the doctor fix the boat, while he went back out to save the others. But how could one man possibly fight an entire pirate army? Dennis tells Jason it's time to witness true power. The woman who kept Dennis on the island, the one to whom he devoted everything, is the native chieftainess Citra. She is the key to mastering the final stages of the warrior's path, and she is also the older sister whom Vaas deeply loved. Seeing the expanding tattoos on Jason's arm, Citra is intrigued. She promises to help him, provided he passes her trial. Jason drinks the herbal tonic she offers and his vision blurs. He enters a powerful hallucination. A man in a white suit guides him through a ruined landscape of ancient Chinese architecture to find a mysterious dagger adorned with a Chinese dragon pattern. When he wakes up, Dennis is there, hammering away at a new tattoo on his arm. He tells Jason his task is to find that very ancient mythical blade. Jason eventually tracks down the man in the white suit in a nearby slum. His real identity is Willis Huntley, a CIA operative. Turns out that, like Vaas, he might look powerful, but he's just a mercenary and employee. The real pirate king is a man named Hoyt Volker. Hoyt has built a massive empire of rage and terror in the South Pacific, controlling a multi-million-dollar drug business based on plant extracts. Uncle Sam sent Willis to the island with two goals: destroy Hoyt's ships and burn his crops. Jason has no choice but to cooperate. To the beat of an energetic song, he blows up oil barrels, setting fire to the drug fields, and lifts an RPG to blast apart a drug transport boat. Willis proves to be honorable. After their mission, he gives Jason a recording. The audio reveals a furious Hoyt, absolutely tearing into Vaas for the devastating losses. Hoyt sent men to a drug lab to move the hostages. Jason quickly fired a shot and managed to rescue one of his friends, bringing him back to the cave beneath the doctor's house. Just as Jason was about to leave again, Liza confronted him. She showed him the cross she'd made for his deceased brother, Grant. She couldn't understand what had happened to Jason. He was constantly running around hyper-focused carrying weapons. "Don't you have a shred of grief inside you? Have these cursed scribbled tattoos mess with your mind?" she pleaded. But the once meek Jason simply pushed Liza away. Since stepping onto the warrior's path, he felt for the first time that he was the master of his own destiny. That feeling was infinitely more thrilling than being in love. He was determined to see this through. Jason tracked down a killer named Buck, who had purchased one of Jason's friends from the pirates. "It's simple if you want him back," Buck sneered. "Just bring me this ancient relic in exchange." Jason immediately recognized the object. Holy cow! It was the same dragon pattern dagger he had seen in his hallucination. It turns out this was a treasure left behind during the legendary voyages of Zheng He. Buck gave Jason a quick history lesson. During World War II, the Japanese military also tried to find Zheng He's treasure, hoping to fund their war machine with the massive ancient wealth. However, despite building countless useless bunkers, the Japanese couldn't figure it out. They realized brute force was pointless. They needed ancient Oriental wisdom to pinpoint the mysterious vault. What exactly was this Oriental wisdom? Jason found a strange compass base on a cargo ship used by pirates to smuggle artifacts. Next, in an underground Ming Dynasty ruin, he found the compass dial. When he put the pieces together, the compass emitted an eerie light. Only the power of this legendary feng shui magic could point to the treasure's location. Buck was appalled by the rich kid's lack of history knowledge, so he gave Jason a quick lecture. "Do you know how much wealth Zheng He's fleet brought back to the Ming Dynasty? Let me put it this way. One of his captains, a man named Lin Song, quietly broke away from the fleet. The wealth on his ship alone was enough to establish a small empire in the South Pacific, dominating the region. That small state was built right here on the island where they were stranded. However, Lin Song, who had enslaved the natives, must have been incredibly greedy. He spent a fortune constructing his mausoleum and buried all his remaining wealth with him. That led to the state's collapse and its disappearance from history. And this compass was the key to unlocking Lin Song's tomb." Jason finally located Lin Song's burial chamber. Although there was no fabled treasure around the ancient remains, the dragon-patterned dagger, was indeed placed there as a burial offering. Jason brought the dagger back to Buck as promised, and found his friend utterly traumatized. What had Buck done to him to frighten him so badly? Jason turned to look at Buck, who was now coming down the stairs, stripped down to his underwear. Buck uttered a chilling line. "Your friend smells so good. And you smell so good too." Jason didn't want to end up abused in a nursing home for being incontinent in his old age. So he instantly snatched the dagger and plunged it straight into Buck's chest, rescuing his friend from the twisted killer. Back at the cave, the friend frantically begged Jason not to tell anyone what had happened to him. Jason assured him, "Don't worry. Once we rescue my little brother, we can all go home." Upon hearing this, the friend replied with a painful look, "Your brother is dead. He was shot and killed by the pirates while trying to escape." Jason's anger flared into an inferno. He cursed Vaas and Hoyt with every fiber of his being. Liza noticed Jason's strange behavior. "What's wrong with you? We can help you," she said. To her shock, Jason shoved her away. "Shut up. There is no we, woman. There is only me. I'm going to kill them and get my revenge myself." Liza was terrified. All she could manage was, "If you need my help, I'm here for you." But Jason couldn't hear her. He stormed out of the cave and ran straight to Citra's temple. He presented the Lindsong dagger. The blade, drenched in the blood of her ancestors, proved that Lindsong had been avenged, and the tribe's blood feud was settled. Citra congratulated Jason on passing the trial and led him deep into the temple. Gone was her previous aloofness. Now Citra was radiant and alluring, her eyes captivating, her body graceful, and her demeanor intensely passionate. She began telling Jason the tribe's ancient legends. She spoke of a heavily tattooed warrior from the north who came from a distant land, who walked upon a path of lotus flowers and cut off the head of a giant. The giant's head fell into the ocean and became the island beneath their feet. She claimed the Rakyat tribe were the descendants of this warrior. She believed that Jason, the one whose arm was covered with the warrior's path tattoos, was the prophesied savior sent to rescue the tribe. Flattered and believing his own hype, Jason immediately agreed to help her by rescuing the captured tribesmen. After fighting his way through, Jason opened a transport van. And who was inside? Vaas. Again. How many times would this happen? Vaas decided to teach Jason a lesson. "Do you know what the definition of insanity is?" He ranted. "Insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again, expecting things to change." What did he mean? Every time he brought a victim here for execution, they would beg, "Please don't kill me. You, Jason, can you give me something new?" To prove that he would actually kill him this time, Vaas kicked Jason, who was bound with a heavy rock, off the cliff and into the abyss. Barely surviving, Jason was captured by Vaas for the fourth time. This time, facing the muzzle of Vaas's gun, Jason didn't beg for mercy. Instead, he locked eyes with the madman, daring him to pull the trigger. But guess what? Jason didn't die. Again, the quickly arriving Dennis watched him rise from the pile of corpses. Was this the divine power of resurrection? No. It was the lighter that Vaas had jammed into Jason's pocket. When he tried to burn them alive, it had deflected the bullet, saving his life. Jason, having escaped death, returned to the temple. Now, the prophecy of the tribe's salvation was upon them. Defeat the giant and Jason would prove he was the warrior of the legends. Jason drank Citra's lotus elixir once more and, as expected, entered another vivid hallucination. The legendary giant appeared in immense form, but it was no match for the explosive power in Jason's hands. When the giant fell, Jason scrambled up its massive arm, and with a single strike cut off the giant's head. Citra immediately declared that, according to prophecy, she must now bear his children, to perpetuate the warrior's bloodline. What followed was a frenzy of raw primal passion. After the intense, world-rocking experience, all the natives knelt before Jason, their new chieftain, whom they had just witnessed fulfilling the ancient rite with Citra. Jason, now fully transformed into a tribal warrior, swore to lead them in driving out every last pirate. He immediately marched alone into Vaas's lair, only to be ambushed by Vaas using that same knife, stained with native blood. Dazed, Jason plunged into a final hallucination. The frenzied images of his own savage deeds flickered before his eyes, making him question if he had become Vaas or if he was simply repeating the exact cycle of violence Vaas had once followed. Vaas mocked Jason. "The heat and humidity of the tropics could never truly turn you into a real warrior." Jason kept striking down the phantom enemies rushing at him. Vaas roared, "Get deeper into your mind. Accept me as your salvation. Crucify me. Let me be reborn." But Jason used a move like Arya Stark against the Night King, and plunged the ancient dagger deep into Vaas's chest. Yet, after defeating his enemy, the only words Jason spoke were,
I won.
When Jason awoke, Citra had already rescued him. But Vaas's voice seemed to echo in his ear, saying, "She wants to turn you into a warrior. We're both utterly screwed, Jason." Citra showed no grief for her dead brother. Jason told her, "Once I see my friends safely off the island, I'll stay here with you." Before leaving, Jason ran into Dennis. It turned out Dennis once believed he too could walk the warrior's path, but he lacked the strength. Now he was completely resigned to his fate and had nowhere left to go. He wished the true warrior Jason well and pledged to remain Citra's loyal servant for the rest of his life. Jason went to say goodbye to his friends and Liza. Liza had wished countless times that the childish Jason would mature into an adult. She just never thought that the truly mature Jason would be one who abandoned her. There was no point in pleading. Liza had no choice but to let go of the man she loved. At that exact moment, a Russian operation had gone sideways. Willis was heading out to meet up with Task Force 141 and offered to drop Jason off at Hoyt's southern base island. There, Jason met the mole Willis had planted, a bald man named Sam Becker. Sam was impressed that Jason had taken down Vaas, but warned him that Hoyt's mercenaries were far tougher than the pirates. A frontal assault was out of the question. Luckily, Hoyt only knew that Jason had tattoos, not what he looked like. So Sam suggested that Jason find a hapless recruit at the dockside boot camp, steal his long-sleeved uniform and ID tag, and infiltrate the ranks. Seizing the opportunity, Jason marched in and shouted at the new recruits. Hoyt was not fooled. "Welcome to the family, boys." He greeted them without recognizing Jason, but he immediately cautioned the recruits not to try stealing his money. To drive the point home, Hoyt instantly set fire to a crate of goods right in front of them, which contained a slave he had kidnapped and was about to sell. Riley Brody, Jason's little brother, one of Hoyt's senior mercenaries, a veteran, was secretly attempting to cut Hoyt out of the deal and privately take over the operation Vaas had left behind. Jason used this to his advantage, pretending to cooperate in infiltrating the rogue group's camp. He got his hands on their small faction's roster from the veteran's body. With this list as his ticket, he and Sam went to pay their respects to Hoyt. Hoyt was highly satisfied, offering Jason a cigar and immediately giving him a major assignment. "Go interrogate a prisoner for me. See if we can get a good price for him." Jason was horrified. The prisoner was his own brother, Riley. It turned out the shot Riley took when escaping Vaas wasn't fatal. He hadn't died at all. Sam quickly reminded Jason that the entire interrogation was being audio and video recorded. Jason had no choice but to clamp his hand over his brother's mouth and launch into a brutal beating. To fully sell the deception to Hoyt, Jason even had to violently drive his finger into the infected wound on Riley's chest. The pain was so intense that Riley passed out. This act of cruelty successfully earned Hoyt's trust. He invited both men to join his private poker game, the perfect opportunity to take him down. But just killing him wasn't enough. Sam wanted to completely dismantle Hoyt's criminal empire. The two partners worked together, crippling Hoyt's communications network and blowing up his fuel depot. Sam hid a knife in the sole of his shoe and arrived at the poker game, ready to strike the fatal blow once Jason distracted Hoyt. Sam's hand was stronger than Jason's. Only Hoyt remained. But before Hoyt could even fully flip over his cards, he swiftly pulled out a hidden knife and plunged it into Sam's neck. The old fox had seen through their disguise all along. The entire interrogation of Riley was just a cat playing with two mice. Then Hoyt looked at his cards. They were an exact match for Jason's. So he proposed a high-stakes game. The stakes are simple. Put somebody parts on the table. Jason lost the hand, and Hoyt immediately chopped off one of Jason's fingers. But what Hoyt didn't know was that this brutal act plunged Jason directly into the final stage of the warrior's path. Jason, now in his element, wasted no time. He plunged the blade into Hoyt's neck in the same brutal fashion. After taking him down, Jason raced to the airport and rescued his little brother, Riley, who has a pilot's license. To the beautiful melody of the Ride of the Valkyries, the plane took off, though barely steady. Jason grabbed a machine gun and decimated every pursuing enemy, ensuring Riley made it to his friends. But when he reached the doctor's house, he found a scene of carnage. Rakyat warriors had burst in, killed the doctor, set the house ablaze, and kidnapped his friends. Jason immediately rushed back to the temple to confront Citra. Citra once again offered him the ultimate high, saying, "Complete this final trial and I will be yours completely." She sent Jason back onto the warrior's path. But along the burning, hallucinatory trail, Jason saw Liza appear like a demon, cursing the warrior's path as worthless garbage. You're just a coward who only dared to sneak up on Vaas. You're afraid that dagger will burn your hands. She screamed. She cursed these tattoos, calling them a curse that had destroyed his sanity, turning into flames that rushed at him, just like the giant he saw before. She stood there, screaming for him to destroy everything. Then Citra's voice echoed, summoning him, my great warrior. You are ready. Jason walked forward, taking the ancient dagger back into his hand, a dagger soaked in blood and vengeance. When he looked up, the blade was aimed right at Liza, who was staring back with tear-filled eyes. Vaas's words were true. There was indeed one final unavoidable choice: save his friends or stab Citra. If Jason chose the latter, Liza would be killed without hesitation. If Jason made that choice, he would open his eyes to a final scene bathed in divine light. Jason plants his seed. Ladidare. In the very next second, Citra's dagger plunges into him. Ha! So much for becoming a legend. She splits his bloodline right in two. In the parallel timeline, Jason quickly chooses the other option. He saves his friends. Citra's voice booms with confusion and rage. If you stay, you will become the hero of legends, sung about for generations. If you go back, you will be nothing more than a useless person who marries, has children, and slowly ages. How can you not know what to choose? Just then, Dennis rushes in, cursing Jason as an ungrateful traitor. Citra saved your life, and you betray her love? He shouts, and lunges at Jason with his blade. But this time, Citra throws herself in front of Jason, taking the fatal blow. In her final moments, as the dying Citra declares her love for Jason one last time, we understand that she truly loved him, and she also truly wanted to kill him. These two things are not contradictory, because she, too, was nothing more than a madwoman, repeating the same actions over and over, yet always expecting a different result. And with that, the game ends. Thanks for watching and leaving a like. We'll see you next time.